Hey there, I'm going to make this short and sweet for you. My 9 out of 10 AI challenge method of how I polish my queries, okay? Now, I know I said in an earlier video that I didn't want to make any more instructional, videos. However, in light of the fact that you guys picked That Which Is True Cannot Be, and to be my debut novel, yay, on May 4th, I want to talk about how I almost got an agent. And I don't really want to talk about that part. I actually just want to talk about the querying polish. And I had a query that I was proud of, because I'd already been through the whole querying process with Longing for the Blue Heron. So I thought, well, maybe I have enough experience to write this. And I had actually gotten help for my query, at least an analysis of my query for Longing for the Blue Heron, my first one, from Manuscript Academy and from an agent, a literary agent. That was helpful. However, it's expensive if you want to or need to keep going back to ask more questions. You can't do that. It's not like a back and forth conversation. You present your query. They give you an opinion. That's kind of the end of it. So my brain doesn't work that way. I want to brainstorm. I need to go back and forth. And I don't want to throw $80+ at it over and over. And I doubt you do either. So with my method, and it's not rocket science or anything, it's just something that I came up with that worked really well for me, and that I was able to get 4 agents interested in That Which Is True Cannot Be, enough to ask for a full manuscript, and 1 wanted a partial. So if you Google the stats on that, that's pretty good. That's worth a little happy dance over and over. So I was very pleased with those results, and this is how I did it. To get a 9 out of 10, this is how I did it. I employed the use of AI. At the time, it was ChatGPT. I would probably, if I had to do it all over again, I would not use ChatGPT. I would use Gemini. But anyway, that's what I knew of, and that's what I used. So I had a query, and I had already sent it out in a batch or 2, and was frustrated. And I was getting form letters back, so I knew that wasn't a good sign. And I did another query as far as a rewrite, and sent those out. And this time I got something better than a form letter. They were a couple more that were more personal, where they said, maybe you could this and that. Okay, I was, okay, I'm on the right track. I'm getting personal responses now, but I'm still not getting anyone to ask for my full manuscript. So then I decided to use ChatGPT. I put in my query and said, ChatGPT, give it a look. Well, it analyzed it, but it still didn't really give me what I wanted, until I said, rate it. And by what I wanted, I wasn't wanting it to write it for me. I don't want its opinion on like that. I wanted it to break it down, like what can I improve about this? But it still wasn't hitting the mark. Okay, I had a little interruption. I'll be okay. My youngest son is waiting for me to take him to Dairy Queen, and he is all excited about that. So I'm not as excited. And I told him we would go after I finished this video. So he's a little antsy. Anyway, moving on. So the 9 out of 10. So I told it, with one, give me a score, a rating 1 out of 10, compared to queries that actually worked for authors to get an agent. And then it came back with like an 8. And then I'd go back and polish, try to employ what it told me here and there. Now, don't use its words, okay? AI does not have a creative bone in its body, okay? It doesn't have a body. Maybe that's why, huh? But yes, it's great in analysis, absolutely spectacular. Cannot create anything, okay? So don't let it trick you into framing things a certain way. It will totally change what you're trying to say. It takes your voice out of it, becomes generic. No, you don't want that. But anyway, so I did that, and I got like an 8, 8.5 a couple of times for these two query versions. And then I finally, after hours and hours of work until my hair turned gray, no, not really, it's been gray for a long time, but I was ready to pull my hair out. So I was almost a bald version of myself. There he is in the background. I stayed up till like 1 o'clock in the morning working on this, and then the next day working on this, and I was almost ready to throw in the towel until I finally got a 9. And I was like, I know it's not going to give me a 10. I don't believe anything would give somebody a 10, but I was wanting that 9.5. So I kept refining and refining. Finally got a 9.5. I was like, yes, I'm ready. And now if you think that spending hours, a couple of days is a long time to work on a query, it is not. It is not. It is so important that you get it polished as perfectly is not the right word, but it has to be polished to the point that you are so impressed by it, and that other people who read it around you are impressed by it. And I don't mean like your mama, okay? She's going to say what's nice, unless your mama's like me, and I'm going to shoot straight. And, well, anyway, I digress. So you want to see, is this going to blow somebody's socks off? That's what you're aiming for. And then you can send it out. So I did that, and I got 4, very quickly, I got 4 amazing yeses. They wanted my full manuscript request. And I don't mean like in 1 week, but they were like at least 2 weeks, and then the next couple weeks, a couple more. And so in the querying realm of things, that's a pretty short time, well, in my book also. So I was ecstatic. I was beyond happy. And then, unfortunately, I got the no's, and then I got one that, oh no, I also had gotten a request for a partial in that too. But anyway, I got a response back from one of the top agents that was on my favorite list, and he basically said, sorry, but I really liked it. And that's what I'm on right here. I really liked it, but wrong genre. Wrong genre. What? He was looking for something commercial, and my query evidently leaned very commercial. I just thought I was, doing a great marketing job, putting a certain spin on it, blah, blah, blah. And no. It has to be truer. And I wasn't trying to lead anyone astray. I really thought I was having to do like a commercial sales pitch. And no, that's not what you do per se. It has to be very true to your genre. And maybe I wasn't totally clear on what my genre was and what that meant. Even though I thought I did, I didn't understand how to market that. I guess that's the best way of saying it. So the response that I got was this. And this is part of, he wrote a fairly long letter back to me, but this is part of it that he said was off genre. The result reads more like upmarket grief-forward fiction with gothic overtones than a breakout psychological suspense or clearly framed ghost novel, which makes top house positioning difficult. Yeah, well, that was disheartening. Because before that he had said so many positive things, and then he said, no, but that's not, you had this, but you didn't have the whole package. I was looking for a commercial work that I could pitch to publishing companies, so publishing houses. So Yeah, which led me back to ChatGPT and my 9 out of 10 method. But this time, I put in this agent's letter and my query. And this, I don't even have the paid version of ChatGPT or Gemini, if there's such a thing as a paid version of Gemini. Anyway, so I just used the freebies, which meant every time I needed to revise something, I had to refresh and start again and re-explain everything, enter everything back into ChatGPT. A little maddening, but I didn't want to have to pay. Still don't. And if you have too long of a conversation with ChatGPT, it gets uglier and uglier. It gets so confused, and it takes things from the beginning of your conversation and throws it in at the end. And I mean, it just totally loses its mind. A robot head spinning around and pops right off. It's ugly, ugly, ugly. So don't do that. Keep it short and sweet, and then refresh it. Start all over again. I know it's a pain, but you'll thank me for it later. Trust me. So I put all that information back in, did the 9 out of 10 rating system. Okay, ChatGPT, where does this stand now? Can you tell me what to do with this? I've tweaked it a little bit. I've tried to take out the portions that he said lean to commercial, What do you think? And then it told me its opinion. And this is still to this, and this is still to that, and your comp titles aren't working because those lean. Riley Sager is not your comp title. Okay, that's too bad. But once I kept going with this process, I was able to see more and more of what that agent was talking about. Like, oh wow, yeah, mine's not like that at all. Mine's definitely more literary than I thought. I can see where it's not this or not that. So I was able to have a perspective that I didn't have before. So that's basically it in a nutshell, except for one thing. I did this query over, and again, the same process. Didn't quite take me as long this time, thankfully. And then I sent it out to, I only had by this time, I had already sent out, like 80 queries. So the amount that I had left for agents that liked to represent authors who were literary leaning were very few. Unfortunately, I had wasted basically all of those agents because I didn't have my genre right. I did have my genre right. I didn't market it correctly, okay, in my query, in my blurb. So this time around, I had just a handful. I was like, please, please, please. I only have like 10 to 20 people left. Realistically, 10. There was another 10 that I put on there that I thought maybe, but it was more of a stretch. So 100 all in all, basically, when it was all said and done. But there was one, and that was the last one that I was telling you about in another video, a recent video. And she also passed. But she also enjoyed my writing. It's just not exactly, the characters weren't exactly what she was looking for. And that's okay. We all like different things, don't we? Well, I hope that helps. That's all I have to say about it at the moment. If I think of something else, I'll leave it in the comments or in the description. And let me know. Let me know about where you're at in your querying journey. Are you in the trenches? Have you gotten an agent? Have you thrown in your hat because it's just too challenging? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. All right. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.